Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and the trainer trials are right around the corner in Pokemon TCG Live, and I'm really excited for this. Pokemon TCG Live has obviously had a rocky history, which unfortunately we'll have to talk about a little bit today when talking about some of the decks and cards, but this is the guide or some ideas and for decks and specific cards for the first trainer trial, which is for 2 weeks, just over that, the 25th of March to the 10th of April. And the way this works is it's standard format. It will have its separate tab here in that didn't really make it bigger. In the casual matchmaking system, not in ranked. So it's a third mode in addition to expanded beta and standard. There's trainer trials. I don't expect there to be friend matches in this. In fact, I'd much more expect it to be for expanded. I think that'll come first, friend matches for expanded beta before trainer trials. I don't know if we'll ever get trainer trials like friend matches, but anyways, that is how you'll play it. And I don't know how. Yeah, I guess you just play a deck. So if you can make your deck beforehand. And I've made 2 decks, which will be linked down below in the description. And so you can copy those. And also, I'll just show like the one here. That's here it is. You can't like see the whole thing in Play Limitless or in Limitless's image generator. So do keep that in mind. But it's only one copy of each card. That's why it's so long. And then standard, there is rotation. This is a little weird. So these are made of cards that are all Scarlet and Violet on to Prismatic Evolution. So these are all going to be standard pre-rotation and post-rotation. I believe rotation, yeah, that'll be on the same time at the same time as the new expansion Journey Together. So there aren't any cards for either of these. I believe it will change for, you can play the game Tuesday and Wednesday, and so you can and some of Thursday before the update. I guess it depends your time zone. And so again, you can play the game pre-rotation there, and you can play these lists. I believe it's pre-rotation there. And then after that, if you've made a list and it's pre-rotation, you'll need to change it. So do keep that in mind. And there are some cards that'll definitely make this better pre-rotation. Probably a few to toss in for post-rotation as well. But with that out of the way, with the rules explained, let's hop right into the first deck here, which I'll pull up here, not as its own image. This is we can see the Pokemon here. It's based on Charizard EX and Dragapult EX, and we have Pidgeot EX. You could put in Dusknoir. I actually was considering that. Ended up not putting that in. And this is built around. You've seen lists kind of like this, right? I put in Revavroom and Noctowl. The list plays 11 energies. It actually originally played Goldengo and it had 2 medals. I still have a medal for attacking with Revavroom, which I actually did in a game to counter Mimikyu. So I don't really know if you probably don't need the medal, but I don't think you could toss another fighting or another water or whatever. You could toss in another of any energy. And then obviously every card is one of except for the basic energies, so you essentially know all the cards looking at this image outside of like a handful of energies. But let's talk about the Pokemon first and the trainer or the supporting Pokemon. I like this list a lot because Charizard EX is pretty self-sufficient. Dragapult EX is not, and this doesn't play Sparkling Crystal either, so it's not super hard to attack with, but you're probably not using Charizard EX to power it up, and you do have Crispin here, but it's probably going to be 2 attachments. So Dragapult EX has Drakloak there. Drakloak is really nice because it's an engine piece, along with Pidgeot EX, Revavroom, and Noctowl all being engine pieces, and Fezandipiti EX. Fezandipiti EX should be in every list. I actually forgot to add it at the beginning when I wrote out the list on paper, and I forgot that card, but and those are really good. Revavroom is pretty solid. Barrel's better than Revavroom pre-rotation because it can draw you cards even if you don't have energy in hand, and you can pair that with Skwovet as well. Pairing Revavroom with Skwovet doesn't really work. There's also Iono's Kilowatt Drill, which is kind of like those, so I'll mention it here, which is not out yet. There's also Kirlia, Liepard, and Enzark EX, which are either pre- or post-rotation, so they're not in this list. I think the best of those is Kirlia with Gallade. Tossed in Liepard's fine as well. I would not play Enzark EX as an engine Pokemon. I would not play Enz at all. We'll take a look at some different cards. But then I have a few other Pokemon. Cleffa with its ability, or with its attack, that lets you draw till you have 7 cards in hand. Kind of like Rotom V pre-rotation. Not having Rotom V, Lumineon V, and Force Seal Stones are a really big issue. I did play these decks on the live ranked ladder, and it went okay. It didn't go great, but I need to have a serious actually discussion about that. There are some glitches that happened as I was playing, but overall the deck like functions pretty well. Looking at trainers, obviously you have like the best ones like Research, Iono, and Boss. And then I have Judge, Hassel, Jacq, Crispin, and Clavel, and Alana's Aid. Which help you like set up or recover. The supporters felt fine. There are pre-rotation. I'm sure there are some that are nice that I'm not thinking of. Oh, and then I think Arven as well is probably good. This list should play Arven if it doesn't. Looks like it doesn't. So that should be there. I don't know why that's not. Or maybe it's off the screen, but I'm pretty sure it's not. So I will pop that into the list. But yeah, there's a lot of really like decent enough trainers that you do want to be playing to just help you get set up. Items are less important. I mean, I don't know, they're kind of important, but you don't have as many good items. Like Pokemon search cards, you have Nest Ball, you have Ultra Ball, which are really good in Buddy PAF as well. And then you have like I put Dusk Ball and Great Ball, Terror Orb, and you can even play Love Ball, which gets a Pokemon that's the same as from one of your Pokemon as your opponent's, which is actually kind of nice because there's a chance your opponent's playing. There's like a greater chance they're playing similar. There's like overlap because you have more unique cards in both decks. And then there's also Capture Room. Capture Room is pretty good. It's rotating. There might be others again that are rotating, but not going to cover those. You can only play them for 2 days out of the 16. And then let's say Hassel. Hassel's really good. I said it, but it's a really, really strong. It's not like super strong, but it's pretty good. I could see not playing Judge. I'm going to actually drop Judge from the list. So that's fine. Oh, in terms of a few other Pokemon though that I didn't mention, Ditto, it's another support card. This one's kind of like it's very similar to Ball Search. If it's in the active turn 1, you can swap it with any basic in your deck. It's decent. It's not amazingly strong. It works with like the walls of Mimikyu and Corso, Masago, Pontiacs. There's nothing really much to say about those, but they're walls. Well, no, actually, yeah, there is stuff to say. Walls are nice because they obviously buy you time, and buying you time allows you to set up your board. So you're less consistent and slower setting up. So buying you time has increased value. And Wells from Masago Pontiac is actually another like disruptive card with Sob or Torrential Pump can be nice. I didn't really end up using it, but I don't think it's bad in the deck either. It's fine. So Ditto's probably going to be into one of those walls or Cleffa, but it could get you a Charmander or Dreepy or Pidgey or whatever turn 1, which is nice. The Ogre Ponds are really important for Noctowl. I think Corso Masago Pontiac is the better of the two. Noctowl, you need a Terran play to use. So you could have Charizard EX, Dragapult EX in play, and I had that happen some. Noctowl's pretty good. Professor Terra's Snare is kind of nice with Noctowl as well. And so that's something I think I might have done. I played just a handful of games, but I did play some. Then there is. I think that's it for the Pokemon. Revavroom can get stuck. That's like a little annoying. That's also partially why there's the Terror scenario in this list, but you can accelerate or you can retreat out with Charizard EX. And then you could play Briar as well. That could be good. I don't really like that card that much. I just don't play with it that much. It does play Energy Search. Oh, Energy Search would probably be cut as well. That was more so there for Goldengo. So you'll see whatever the list is like in the description. That is what I'd recommend. I got some retrieval cards as well, a bunch of those, which are pretty nice. Superior Energy Retrieval, still decent with like Revavroom. That's decent, not necessarily as required. Maybe not. You don't need that, especially with Lonazate, but it's fine. You have Super Rod, you have Nice Retro, which are good for Pokemon recovery, but not always enough. You could play Merriam as well. I would not hate that card. And then there was Team Evolution. Team Evolution is really nice. It's essentially another Pokemon search card. And so I'd highly recommend that. It actually has pretty bad synergy with this deck where it doesn't work with Noctowl Charizard EX. And List plays Grand Tree as the ace spec, which is kind of like Rare Candy, but it's from the deck. It doesn't work with Rare Candy and it also doesn't work with Team Evolution. It just will generally end up breaking down at that point. So like either you could just immediately get the stage 2 and you don't need TM Evolution, or you can't TM Evolution first, then Grand Tree. That doesn't work. So that's a little annoying, but still I think Grand Tree is a good ace spec. Prime Catcher is obviously very strong, but you're not searching it out as easily. Pidgeotto EX is really good, getting any card every turn, so like you could be getting it. And Gust is a bit of an issue. It plays a counter catcher and a boss, and a Pal Pad to get any 2 supporters back, but I often find myself really wanting an extra like boss because only one obviously not great. Then Earthen Vessel is really good. Dusk Ball and Great Ball will comment on there. So Great Ball is like the top 7. Get a Pokemon there. Dusk Ball is the bottom 7 if you don't know. So that's kind of cool. They're okay. They're not terrible. There are lots of solid targets to hit from the Ball Search cards as well. So it's decent enough. And you need some, right? You normally play like maybe 8 Ball Search cards, which are made up of some combination of Nest Ball, Buddy Buddy PAF, and Ultra Ball, maybe even more. And then here we're dropping down to 3 of those, right? So then you have 2 more of the Dust Ball and Great Ball. Jacq's kind of in there. Clavel's kind of in there. And Artisan as well. Artisan's kind of good. It kind of helps your opponent as well. I talked about this on the podcast with Uncommon Fossil. He said he didn't like or didn't love the Art Zone Stadium, but I think it's good. I think it's really important as another really solid, essentially ball search card. And Pokegear is in there. I didn't mention that. That's fine. Oh, one Rare Candy is kind of weird. Rare Candy is good. You won't have it a lot of the time, but it's quite good. Then and then the energies are, again, it's 3 Psychic, 5 Fire, 1 Metal, 1 Fighting, 1 Water. I think, shockingly, the energy count was not really an issue at all, partially because of Energy Search. Energy Search could stay in the deck. Superior Energy Retrieval, as I said, probably cut one of those for Arven, which I don't know why that wasn't there. That's really good. Or it's pretty good. Getting the items nice. Getting the tool is nice. It's not insane, but it's certainly a nice upgrade there. And so, overall, it's the energy count felt fine. It looks a little weird, right? Or actually looks pretty weird, but I think it's fine. I don't think you want to cut it because of Revavroom, honestly. Revavroom's just such a mediocre card, in my opinion. It's seeing a lot of play post-rotation, but I don't think it's super strong. But yeah, do keep that card in mind as an engine option. Then we have my other deck here. This is, you can't see that. Oh, you can see this one even less. So this is a Terra Box deck that's built around, if you've seen Terra Box pre or post rotation, it's got the Ogre Pawns, some different basic attackers. This one, I feel less confident about. I played a few games, and I need to mention, so the game locked up some once or twice on me. I think once with each deck. I also played against a bunch of walls in testing these decks online, which is kind of weird, not a great test. But I mean, it's not a great test anyways, because people are going to be playing different things. I played against Raging Bull Ogre Pond. I would not recommend playing that. But overall, the deck seemed okay. Again, Noctowl's pretty nice. I could see Pidgey EX is really good. It's stage 2. You need to really be playing it with other stage 2s. I wouldn't toss into this, but you could if you really wanted to. Revavroom was fine as well. Helper I didn't really end up using, but I think that's really good. It gets a supporter from either discard or the deck. And it's kind of like another Noctowl. It's weaker, but it's decent. Definitely not a bad card to play. I played Cleffa EX. Now that discards energy when hidden too. It's a weird card, and they have Rock Chestplate and Bravery Charms for some interesting tanking options there. I honestly have a lot of tools here, which I definitely don't need all those tools, but anyways, they are here. There are some different supporters. Carmen actually might be really good. Discard Draw 5 is pretty decent in general. And then Youngster as well. Shuffle Draw 5 and Drayton, which is the top 7. Get a Pokemon and a trainer you find there. Drayton could be really nice. I don't think I actually used it, but I think it's a cool supporter. It's a tier 2 supporter, right? You're going to include some of those. You're not going to include all of them. There's some other ones that we'll take a quick look at later that are new, and so that's kind of interesting. If you really like one of those, or a few of those, you should pop some in. Even if you don't like them, you need to play a few, like we saw in the other list, like Hassel, Jacq, Clavel, and the others I would say I'd say Lonzades, above that tier. Then I put in my Melodic EX, Melodic EX Walls, Terras. I was looking at these 2 decks. I think these are 2 really solid ways to build your deck. They need to be somewhat toolboxy because you're only playing one of each card, right? So you can't make it just one. You can't rely on one Pokemon or one card. And so a lot of those box cards end up being Terra cards for me. And my Melodic EX walls them. I don't know if it's amazing, but I think it's decent. You're losing the Ascension, my Feebas, which you do have pre-rotation, which is kind of interesting. Blood Marshal in the EX is really good in potentially a lot of decks. Same thing with Mew-EX, Latias EX, Swakabilly EX, Trapghost EX, though I don't think it had any of them in the other deck. You could put any of them in if you wanted to. I have less to say about this deck. It's pretty cool. It's kind of fun. Fan Rotom's also decent. You don't need it with Noctowl. It might be good here. Actually, Fan Rotom would probably be a good inclusion in this list because obviously You have Noctowl, you also have the Pidgeotto, you have Ditto as well, so some solid synergy there. I don't think it's a must include, but it's pretty interesting. This list, the energy count is 4 grass, 3 fighting, 2 water. I don't like this energy count. It felt pretty weird to me. Um, I don't hate the Pokemon in the list. Post rotation, you want to put in Lily's Clefairy EX and Psychic Energy, and then you can play Xatu, which might be really nice. TMS Agapon EX was not really something I was using too much. It's only 4 grass. That's not a lot, so probably more would be nice. Again, this is the one I felt less confident about, and I don't think it's as good. So, I mean, I definitely recommend this one over it, the Charizard one. But again, you need to play a bunch of engine Pokemon, use some different attackers that all are, kind of cover similar things that are pretty solid in case one's prized, you can't get it, or multiple are prized and you can't get them. That's something that will end up happening. There's like a bunch of tools like EXP share, counter gain, some defensive ones, and just some different things going on in this list. Area Zero under depths is one I do want to talk about. Trap OCX is pretty good, but only really with that. You are losing double turbo as well with the rotation. Area Zero under depths means with only just one copy of that, Trap OCX is way less reliable. So again, that's an example of what I just mentioned. I'll talk about some different decks and how good I think, or cards, I guess, and how good they'll be within this format. I have talked about Dragapult EX. I think it's pretty good with Drakloak, and it's a good attacker. Gardevoir EX I think it's not good. I think it's good pre-rotation with Curly. I actually like that a bunch. Post-rotation I think it's pretty bad within this format. Stability is kind of cool. You could pair it with Xatu, but I don't know. I don't think that would be very good. Then Goldengo EX, I mentioned Goldengo EX, it draws, it has a good attack, superior Energy Retrieval, Lana's Aid, an Earthen Vessel. There's only like a handful of ways to get lots of energy in your hand, and they're not as good as Superior Energy Retrieval. You can play the A-Spec, the Energy Search Pro A-Spec, but I think that's pretty bad because you want something maybe like Precious Trolley. I went with Sparkling Crystal in this one, but I could have gone with Precious Trolley. Secret Box is decent, Unfair Stamp, Prime Catcher, and Grand Tree as well, I think is pretty good. So there's a lot of good A-Specs, and I think Energy Search Pro is obviously pretty bad outside of Golden. Like, it's unplayable outside of Goldengo, essentially, right? It's really low upside. It gets you a bunch of energy, but what are you going to do with that? In most decks, not much. And this isn't just going to be Goldengo. So you kind of could like do a bunch of types and play that A-Spec, but you can't build around it. So I think Goldengo is not quite good enough, but I think it's decent if you want to play it in whatever. I think it's fine. Caledon EX probably not very good. I don't really know exactly how to build that. You're kind of looking at types, right? There's Goldengo and Caledon. They don't have great synergy though. You could actually, no, I could see our Caledon EX with Serial GX. Serial GX thing is decent. It kind of works with different types decently well. Charizard DX, obviously, I said I thought that's really good. Charizard DX and Dragapult EX are kind of glitchy in live. When you move the stuff around, either the energy or the damage counters on Charizard or Dragapult, respectively, it like moves them wrong. Or when you attach them, I guess, and place them, it does it wrong. Kind of. I don't really know what's happening there, but it like places extra ones. You don't get extra damage. It just places them. In the if you want to put like 3 somewhere, it'll sometimes put 4. I think is what was happening. I don't really know what was happening, but it was working wrong. That's what I know. So it's a bit awkward with Dragapult. It's with Charizard attached to the Poke. If you're splitting it up 1 and then 2, attach it to the one that needs 1 first, and then the one that needs 2 first. I think. So like you're probably putting 2 in the Charizard. So and you want maybe 1 somewhere else. So do keep that in mind. That's kind of awkward. Marion's pretty terrible post rotation, though it could be fine here, I guess. And then you have a lot of these are like rotating. Raging Bolt is one. It's played a bunch in standard now and is very good post rotation. I think Raging Bolt EX isn't very good. The first attack is decent. Setup attacks are interesting. Burst Roar is not bad at all. I don't hate that. As like an option. It's not like a build on, but it's decent. And then Bellowing Thunder is obviously kind of good, but I don't know. You play this. There are actually 2 ways to play it post rotation. Let's see if I can find it. The other one's Ionos. I would not play that. Ionos is pretty awkward. You could kind of just pair this with random stuff, but I would not recommend playing Raging Ball EX. I think it's just a little weak. Something like Trapdoor EX is pretty nice for teching into different things. Walling Pokemon like Melodic EX and Fridgeraff EX are pretty interesting as well. Um, I don't know how great they are. I think Mimikyu is a card that could be a very solid inclusion in almost any deck. And Cornerstone Master Next is also pretty good. Monkey Door is also good. Monkey Door is honestly a Pokemon I kind of forget about some. It works well with these. And these are cards you're kind of teching in, and you have different energy types, which does work well for things. Also, TM Turbo Energize is a pretty solid card. You could play like Town Store and a bunch of tool-based stuff. Iron Thorn GX is kind of like a wall. I don't think it's quite as good. People are going to be playing a wider variety of things. Honestly, walls against a wider variety of things are kind of sketchy. Decks that are just like very one note can be, or they're designed to be one note, can be kind of awkward to use in a format like this. But I do think some of the walls are pretty nice. Overall, I think that you do want to be playing. Obviously, you need to try to keep a similar ratio of Pokemon and the different types of trainers and energy to a regular deck. But you could play a little more basic, a few more basic energies. Obviously, they're not like nerfed from this, so that's kind of nice. And then also, you don't stick super strictly to an energy type, and you can play stuff like Energy Search. That's fine. You can play bad cards. You'll end up playing some bad cards. Don't just play good cards and mix them together, but kind of do this as well. Don't play a bunch of bad cards to stick to like one type is what I'm saying, right? You can get that. I think these decks are pretty good. You can kind of copy a template kind of like this, with different trainers, substitute in the ones you want. I guess the last thing is to talk about the cards that aren't out yet. I guess I didn't talk about pre-rotation. I think Lugia is obviously terrible. Draco is probably not very good. These are like kind of combo decks, which won't work very well. I had no idea about Snorlax or other trapping Pokemon. They could be okay. Double Turbo is kind of good. Which from Palkia V-Star could be fine. It's teched as a 1/1. To different things. Yeah, those are the rotating ones. And then from the new expansion, Battle Partners, which will be coming out for most of the this 2 week, or for all of the 2 weeks. There's 2 weeks and 2 days, I believe. So for the last 2 weeks of that format, you can play these cards. Miraculous is fine. It's like a trap and disruptive Pokemon. Though I would not recommend it. Lose Clefairy EX, I think, translates pretty well. Most of the other trans Pokemon are pretty bad here because they're not going to be like they're kind of combo and you can't really pull off the combos. I will say Bamiswan EX could be decent here. It has an ability that sets you up and like continues things going in an attack that's pretty strong. And then you also have Tyranitar. I actually didn't mention Badoo. Badoo is item locked. Tyranitar is also item locked. Tyranitar is okay. I think it's a decent card. But Badoo is a card that it has item lock. It's pretty decent, but its HP is really low. I'd say it's weaker than in here than in standard, because items like high powered items especially are going to be less important. And if you want, you could go more towards supporters as well, but you don't have to. I think you're okay not doing that. And then I'll say this card is like kind of bad. There are a few cards like this that are EXs that evolve from other engine pieces. Dunsparce is an engine option as well, which is okay. Not bad. Oh, Top's Double might be good as a gusting option. There's another one that could be cool. There's a Ledian, but that's a little weaker. Then Iris is Fighting Spirit and Brock Scouting. Specifically Brock Scouting, I think this card is pretty good. It's like doing decently in Japan, but I think it's pretty good in this format as well, and definitely one that I want to look to include in my decks, because it gets 2 basics to an evolution from your deck, putting them into your hand, which is, in my opinion, kind of like a better Jacq. They're different, but they have some similarities, and I like this card a decent amount. It's not insane, but it's pretty good. Overall, though, tell me what you think about this format, and what you want to play. I'm really excited for this, but I hope you enjoyed. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that good stuff, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.